Checks first, right? Oh, just one check. Yep.
Call it to order.
sewer tax warrant. Two pistol permits. Can you push really hard when you sign? Thank you. The agreement for continued police services by Troop F.
motion that we sign the agreement to continue with the state police coverage.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Here's the statistical reval contract from KRT. It's been approved by DRA, so we can sign it now.
And we had already.
Yep, you've already reviewed it and approved it. We're just waiting for DRA to say okay.
Maybe explain this a little bit again to the.
That's the revaluation that we're required to have every 5 years. That's the contract for our new assessor to do that at the end of their term. Meeting minutes from January 20th.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from January 20th.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye. to approve the non-public number one meeting minutes from January 20th.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You didn't have anything to do with it, did you?
Nope, how many do you need?
I make a motion to approve non-public session number two meeting minutes from January 20th.
There's gotta be a little change on the bottom of that second one though. The very last line.
That needs to be in there, because I did say that.
That one,
That needs to be in there, because I did say that.
are we reading the right one?
You're reading the last one like this?
When they're non-public, it is right. I'll tell you why, yeah. When we're non-public.
Can I put a check on that?
That was, I think, what we covered in the meeting. Is there another way of wording it?
Yeah, that's a different way of wording it, wait for non-public then.
They're non-public meeting minutes from January 27th.
Just one?
Yes. I make a motion, I make a motion to approve the non-public session from January 27th.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
These are both sealed, right? These are
They
both,
they will see it, yes.
that's all I have for signature, Eric.
Okay. Go to the budget.
Okay, so I sent you guys the budget. What comments do you have?
4150-110.
Are we on the estimates or are we on the budget or the revenue?
The budget.
4150-110. Yep.
It's up 26%.
What's up 26%?
Yeah, something like 112. Sorry.
It's up 26% from what?
Number we looking at? 112. 4150, 112.
That's for the tax collector wages. So it's up from 9,051 to 9,126.
I have to look that up.
You have to remember also the tax collector is becoming a combined position this year with the town clerk. So instead of it being $90 a week salary, it becomes hourly. That's what you guys voted on when we talked about the budget the first time when Tom wasn't here.
And that Avatar, was that a PM contract? Or is it just a one-time thing?
What do you mean by PM?
What, where they come in and look at it.
Avatar is software, so I don't understand what they're coming in to look at.
Well, it went from 8,000 to 18.
So we spent 18 because we moved some things around with how we were coding. So all of the computer IT stuff and Avatar for the financial admin portion of things is here. That's tax collector, that's all of the computer IT, that computer IT contract, support for Avatar. So we spent 18. It's just a matter of which bucket it was going into.
So it was budgeted in multiple buckets last year.
And it is this year as well.
The highway, we knew what's going on.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The highway department, we knew that was going up.
And the the cost in, I lost my spot. The cost in here, most of it is computer. So we have the computer contract, which is like, I think, $1,100 a month. Plus we have computer software, security software, other things that are in addition to the regular IT servicing. And then you have Avatar, the software and the support for the software. So most of this is IT.
We also have under Canvas, I thought under Canvas was not supposed to be,
What are you looking at?
that is, 014-4152-390.
Okay, so it's assumed that under Canvas may or may not be assessed by Sans Souci. Right now, we have 2 contracts with Sans Souci. One is a time and material to review under Canvas and assess, and the other is for utility.
We didn't go over, and vote census to do that.
Yes, you did. You guys signed the contract. This was when this was way back when the planning board was talking about how are we going to assess it? Do we want Sans Souci to be involved? We went to Sans Souci and asked for a proposal. It was a time and material proposal. I think he came to 1 meeting so far.
Can you send me a copy of that when you get a chance?
A copy of,
His proposal.
sure.
That's all I have for questions.
Okay.
I got all my questions answered at our last meeting. Okay.
Awful, terrible conspiracy theories about what happened.
I know it's not public comment, but I think it's relative to this, if it's okay. Okay. So one of the things I heard in the last meeting that I would just ask you to think about was around the payroll. There is nothing I hate more than taxes going up. But from a business perspective, when you think through payroll, it's not just the dollars today, it's the future. And there were a couple thoughts that came to mind for me in the discussion. One, I think the town's incredibly lucky that our fire chief is only looking to make a certain amount of money, because the day he does finally decide to leave, as a town, we're going to be paying at least double what we're paying him today. So we're very fortunate there. I think in regards to the other two employees, I would say, one, if you look at Adam, you have someone who has tribal knowledge of the town, which is very important. I think it's pretty well known that he is desired in another town. And if they were to look to pay him more, we're gonna have to pay that amount anyways to replace him. And we're gonna lose the knowledge that we already have about this town. So I think that's something to consider there. And then in regards to Jeanette, and it's kind of awkward to talk about Jeanette while she's sitting there, but in regards to Jeanette, I think it's a lot easier to explain an increase than $1 million shortfall in grants that we don't receive, because that's not part of her job. And should she choose at any time to say, I'm not gonna do that, somebody's gonna have to pick that slack up, or the town's gonna be on the hook for another $1 million. So just something to think about in terms of the longer term progression and not just today's budget. So wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more questions, Tom?
So following up on Paul's comment, I'm going to again make a motion that we provide a 10% increase for the fire chief for all his mini hats that Ron wears, for Adam as road agent, and for Jeanette as
I don't
town
think Ron
administrator.
wants it though, because he's retired.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a good conversation with Ron.
yeah. Based on competitive salaries, we may want to put it in the budget even if we don't use it, just so that we're gearing ourselves up for any retires from that role.
I understand when somebody's good at the job that they deserve the money, yeah, the bonuses or whatever, the raises, whatever. But, and I appreciate what you said there. But we need to take in consideration of what happened last year and all that's happening, and the taxes keep climbing up, and we don't get a grip on trying to balance this out somehow. You're not gonna have no taxpayers out there because you're gonna run them out of town because they're not gonna be able to afford to pay their taxes. That's the way I'm looking at it at this point.
So,
Because there are a lot of people up there that can't afford the taxes now.
so we have, the last time I did an assessment over years, we consistently had lower taxes than any of the surrounding communities. And when we set the tax rate in the fall, it went up just a little bit, it didn't go up hardly at all. And most of that is due to the school and county, not to municipal. And I think, following up on what Paul said, I mean, we've got people who are competitive for other jobs. I mean, Adam, I think, has done a tremendous job handling the flood, being moved to the road agent position. I think we want to keep him. And I'd say the same thing with Jeanette. I mean, she brought in over $82,000 in grant money for the solar, and other grant money. And then when we talk about FEMA reimbursement, we're probably looking at $1 million. And it takes.
Right now, I think it's under suspension, isn't it?
It is not. FEMA is not under suspension. It's not under suspension. I've spoken with FEMA directly. It's not. It's not under suspension. Even a judge put a stop to that. It's still under that.
And that FEMA reimbursement, provided we have somebody capable of completing all the paperwork, which is not trivial, will help to offset our budget this year.
I just don't feel comfortable right now, anyway.
So if we gave Jeanette a 10% raise, tax impact on $1,000 would be 0.042 cents. So 4.2 cents.
We keep the 3% in the budget, and then give us another 7 afterwards.
And we can absolutely, I mean, we'll still have to make a decision to give the raise, but it's a matter of having it budgeted, so
Right.
we're planning for that.
Well, and Adam's raise is in his budget already, so you guys are aware.
Yeah.
So Adam's getting a raise, but I'm not. I'm just pointing it out, putting it out there. You guys say you're not comfortable giving any raises,
That
but
was,
Adam's raise is in the budget.
that was prior to the disaster that happened, and we were, because we didn't know, you didn't know about, wasn't sure about Adam taking this same charge as Bob, and so that was allotted to the point of, after X amount of time, to bring them up to a certain point.
I mean, that's definitely a logical approach. We're just trying to plan the best budget that we can, so that we're not left with a shortfall at the end of the year.
I see the 3% cost of living increase is up there still. So does that mean for everybody or just Jeanette, if that stays there? So does that mean like Ron did it and like we have a couple other full-time employees for the town? I mean, does everybody get that or just Jeanette? If that stays there, or is that going away? I'm like confused here. Because when you talk about the 3%,
So
you only mentioned Jeanette.
3% is basically cost of living.
But is that?
But it's a line item for that position, the other positions are within their budgets. So we don't see it broken out per individual.
Once again, would it go to everybody else,
They've already got raises.
the 3% cost of living?
Oh, I'm sure. Adam's had 3,
I know he has two other road crew and
and
then
those, they
has
both
Ron
been
gotten
bumped
the
out.
3%? You know what I'm saying? So- And then a 10% on top of that you're asking for?
So we're talking about budget, which is different than actually giving the raises. So my understanding is that when Adam put his budget together, he has increases built into it. I don't know what increases he had built into it.
Anything else on the budget? Maybe I'll ask Adam if I can have $6,000 out of his budget. I'm sure he'd probably give it to me for all the FEMA work I'm doing.
So what are we doing for the budget hearing? Is this the budget we're taking? Somebody gonna make a motion accordingly? Or send this to the, because we've got the budget hearing on Thursday.
I'll make a motion to accept this budget.
Is someone gonna second it, or are we just gonna have a motion?
All those in favor?
Nay.
And if I vote nay, what are we going to do, Tom? In terms of taking it to the budget hearing on Thursday.
The thing about it is, I'm not saying they're right, I'm not saying they're wrong. But when we don't have monthly documents on where and how this stuff is coming about, I can't stick my head out on this.
We have that, every month we've looked at the documents. We've looked at on the reconciliation and the GL report, we've seen that every single month.
The reconciliation doesn't cut it for 10, 15 minutes in once a meeting.
Is there anything that has stopped you from coming in and looking at these reports so that you fully understand and can grasp what it is that you're trying to do? Because you look at them and you sign them, and anytime you ask a question, I answer the question. So I'm trying to understand, what about this you don't understand, because you look at the report monthly, quarterly, and annually.
When I ran my business,
This is not the same as a business.
well, it kind of is.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's not.
Because, I mean, these are numbers that put out. I don't know how to put in words to not offend you or anything, but it's just, there should be documents and whatnot backing everything up all the way through.
Do you want me to go grab the file that's like this big, that you initialed, all the documents that back up everything that's in here?
We've asked for itemized billing statement for each month.
You've seen them?
If that was done, every month you could see of revenues and expenditures.
Shall I go get them? Because this is borderline you saying I'm not doing my job.
I am not saying you're not doing
That
your
is
job.
what you're saying. You said if you had them, you do get them. You get them every month, every quarter, and once a year.
So, two can outvote me. Why are you voting no?
I didn't, I just said, if I do, what are we going to do?
Well, if you do, then we'll have to worry about it then. Eric already voted.
Okay.
Is this gonna be posted on the website? So the townspeople can look at it
Should be.
ahead of time?
Jen?
Give me a moment, please. Yes, I'll post it. Any questions on the revenue?
No.
Tom?
No.
Gillette? The bookkeeper is still working at kind of, figure out why she's off from what I have as far as received. It's come down to like $516, so at this point, it's kind of moved. But
And I know we just signed the checks for the Fisher Ag Fund and the land use change tax.
yes,
So that'll be different on the one that goes out on the web, correct? Will that be corrected or will you manually correct it?
as far as the revenue goes, yeah, it will be different from what you have here because I made the adjustment.
Okay.
So here it shows revenue of 31,124. I took the 50% and cut the check to the Conservation Commission. And then I noticed that one of the checks to the paper bag fund was taken out of the revenue, which is not correct. So I added that back in. So the paper bag revenue is like 27 something. We already gave them one check for 12 something. So I cut a check for the difference, which is what you guys signed today. But yes, those two items will be different from what you guys have and from what you saw, Emily, from your right to know. No other questions?
HB 1264, election, that's the
No update?
all good. Commission? None? Smith Road?
I received an update from the engineer today. So the preliminary approval plans are complete except for some supplemental information the survey crew was out to obtain today. The office is finalizing the replace in kind FEMA documents and need to make final adjustments to the respective cost estimates, which can then be stamped and provided to FEMA. The gravity wall construction is very close to Christina Chamberlain's property to the west and will need to obtain an easement, which was verified by the survey crew today. He's putting together an intent to grant easement paperwork package, and he'll provide it to me as soon as possible. He's asking for us to see if Miss Chamberlain will grant the town the easement, as it would be greatly appreciated. Without the easement, the construction will get more expensive, since temporary shoring along the property line would then need to be required. They're trying to avoid that due to cost. With the supplemental field information obtained today, they expect to have the final FEMA documents to us by the end of the week.
Do we need to sign those documents?
I believe the documents need to be signed by a representative before they go to bid.
Is that pretty much covered the FEMA repair funding, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
That pretty much covered the FEMA repair funding?
Oh, no. No. I went over the stuff with Adam again on Friday.
So can we finish up on Smith Road? Because I still have some questions. So are we meeting Monday? Are we having a working session? Because if we get the docs by the end of the week, they need to be signed. If we wait just another 2 weeks, that's delaying the project even further.
We're gonna have to meet on Monday,
Okay.
because the town report's not gonna be ready. It's not, I don't have the town report today. I still have stuff I haven't gotten from people, so.
Okay. And they're gonna provide the documents regarding the easement that we can provide to the landowner if we can get in touch with her. She hasn't been responsive.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it. I asked him what happens if we can't get in touch with her, but that was at 5:40 tonight, so he was probably already gone. Anything else on Smith Road? So I met with Adam again to go over the FEMA mitigation stuff. He added a bunch of head walls, so I have more estimating to do before I can send it over to FEMA and they can approve it. So we pushed off tomorrow's call to next week.
Town election candidates?
Sean St. Cyr and Joe Beth Dudley are running for Selectboard. I'm running for tax collector, town clerk. Emily's running for planning board, as is Tom Arison Thompson. Nancy Smith is running for library trustee. Sue Zelinski is running for trustee of the trust funds. The host community agreement committee is Pam Cathan, Corey St. Cyr, Robert Sampson, and Richard Nadeau, as well as Paul Deveneau, Wendy Roberts,
Mike Crosby.
thank you, Mike Crosby, and
And Carol.
Carol Bean. Thanks.
So did I.
We have stuff to go over for the town report. I guess we could start with the draft warrant articles. Bill Beth sent them out earlier. I've added the one for CPC&H, which is the second page.
I think I had that as the first one.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all.
Yep, you
Better
sure?
make sure. Yeah, I
You sure
copied
did?
it when there's that language. Yep.
Sorry.
No, but- the chair, would you, I mean, I think these were all ones we discussed. I'll make a motion that we add these additional warrant articles to the other ones that we discussed last week.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm not high on some of it, but nay on others, so you guys got me anyways.
Do you wanna, for the record, tell me what you're aye or naying for, or are you just gonna aye or nay at all?
No, that's
Abstain
fine.
or,
I don't want to, no, I'm fine. It's, it's going through, so whatever, let the town speak.
here's the annual reports. The only one that you guys really need to give input is the one for the select board. The others, we don't change. I don't have anything from the planning board, so I've asked like 4 times.
So here I drafted a dedication to the annual report to the staff and volunteers who helped in July. And what I thought,
Oh, sorry, I have printed that out too. Here you go. I don't know if everyone has it.
if I might suggest, I thought we might actually say that we're dedicating the annual report to them. I could just say the select board dedicates the 2024 annual report to the employees and volunteers who responded with dedication, compassion, expertise, and many hours of hard work to respond to the devastating floods the town encountered in July 2024. And then I wondered if, the first paragraph of the select board annual report had a lot of detail about that. Would we want to insert that in the dedication?
Yeah, probably.
And then maybe I can work on this and try to make it more succinct. Maybe so it won't be a duplication. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's why I wrote everybody for their input.
Yeah, we did leave, but we have to do it in a meeting. We can't do it outside the meeting. So this is kind of, if you did that, and then I'll rework that first paragraph on the select board annual report, so it's not quite as long.
Okay, so this is what you reworked, what Eric sent
Yeah, what I did was just, I cut and pasted
from the select board one?
one,
Okay,
and then I added that first introductory paragraph,
okay.
and I can send that out to everybody.
Do you want to read this and make sure you're okay with it, Eric? I mean, just that you're good with it, I guess.
Why is it Monday?
And
Is that okay?
That's fine.
you'll tweak the select board one then?
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
You okay with that, John?
I didn't see them. I'm sorry.
there anything else for the town report? Do you have something, Tom?
Yeah, we have, the vicar that we should write something about, and, the family wrote something up, and they are gonna be bringing a picture to go with it.
If they can email me the picture, that would be better than bringing it here, because I don't have, I mean, I can scan it, but it's not gonna look. Everyone's good with that? I have one non-public. For,
With the public comment first,
oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I guess I can get into it.
anybody got a comment?
Yeah, I don't know if you, I guess I'll go ahead and just read this. I am handing over a petition for a warrant article, and with 26 signatures, and it says, to see if the town of Dalton will vote to require that all public meetings of the select board in their entirety shall be broadcast live over the internet using Zoom or similar technology so that they're accessible to all in real time, and be recorded and promptly posted to the internet on YouTube or similar technology so they are accessible to all at their convenience. This article does not require the select board to enable any form of communications from the internet audience, such as for live questions or comments. And since the town already owns the equipment and pays for the online services required to do this, the additional cost of this article to the town is negligible or zero. Thank you.
What's it on public?
Can I see your, do you have one of those sheets? I'm sorry. Oh, no, I have that. It's for, RSA 91-3 : or -A:3. It's not a, yeah, no, I have the same thing.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, it's definitely legal. It's, I wouldn't say it's litigation though.
legal advice.
It's an abatement.
That's usually personal.
Okay, well, personal, not
Not
personnel.
personnel, but personal.
Okay, well then it's personal.
And I think we also have
Sorry.
legal, just to get updates on the various things.
So mine's personal.
I do have one more question, because I don't know what you guys put in the warrant articles that the select board are putting forth. I was curious as to what was there any fallout or was there any change in the way that the town is doing business due to the law, the RSA that was brought up at the last meeting as far as our trash being brought to Casella's, by Casella to the landfill. I just didn't know. Is that going to be a warrant article to be voted on by the town, or are we just ignoring that?
Not sure, I'll look into it.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that if it went to the town, then that could legitimize the contract, I think. I don't know. I haven't read the contract. I don't know, or the law, but yeah. Okay.
Personnel.
Are you coming back in?
Just to adjourn.
Jeanette, I'll go get the dollar from her right now.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Um,
You go for it.
And got the new turkey.